Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore battle. Always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans is so good at football, and it is amazing how outside of basically 4 throws, four catches, I think, in the last 7 years. I'm talking like significant catches, touchdowns, big plays. There's been like 4 over the last 7 years. Evans versus Lattimore.
Yeah, we need we need to pull up actually at some point what Lattimore's just career looks like against Mike Evans. Like the whole thing. We've got to be approaching.
Somebody try to run.
It's got to be like a full season's worth of games at this point, right? It's probably like 09 Revis. It's like the best season we've ever seen from a corner.
So it's always a battle, and this was a concern. Even when Tom Brady was the quarterback and the Bucs' offense was great, this was a concern. They struggled against the Saints' defense. Not every game, but in a lot of the games. And now you have, look, Baker Mayfield, I think, is, before I jinxed him the other night, still probably playing it's like the best 3-game stretch we've seen in 4 years from Baker, 3 years, for whatever that's worth. But he is getting to that point where it's like, hey, Mike Evans is my dude. Chris Godwin's good, but I'm chucking it up to Mike, at least a few times a game. And so when Brady was here with the Bucs, there was oftentimes he wouldn't even look Evans' way, and he would distribute the ball elsewhere. I wonder if Baker's going to be mature enough to do that, or if he's just like, whatever, I'm doing it. I'm throwing to Mike. There's a chance Marshawn Lattimore comes out of this game with like 5 pass breakups because they keep firing the ball to him. Maybe Evans wins a couple, but I'm curious to see how Baker runs this offense with that expected matchup on the outside.
Well, the Saints D last week had 7 pass breakups, which is a pretty crazy high number. They were collectively getting that ball separated from the hands of Green Bay's receivers. Marshawn Lattimore, like we know, as we said, he's going to have that kind of game against Mike Evans. At this point, it's unreasonable to not expect that to happen. Is there a chance that Jameis Winston is actually a better quarterback for this offense than Derek Carr?
This is a perfect convergence of my takes here, Sam, because we're in year 8 where I've been predicting. I've sitting on 8 years of a Jameis Winston breakout. I'm in year 8 of that. I'm in week 2 of predicting that the Saints offense is ready to break out, and that I like Derek Carr over. Like, Derek Carr is fine. Like, he's a fine quarterback. I would predict the breakout with Derek Carr as the quarterback. But as I mentioned on the review show, Derek Carr's red zone work has been atrocious. A 28 grade in the red zone this year. The Saints offense is ready to pop a 30 spot, right? They're ready to pop 30 points any given week. I don't know if it's this week, but I'm going to predict it again. Like, the Saints are ready to explode. Jameis has been waiting to explode for 8 years. Boom. It's coming together. Combustion is happening this week. Jameis, he's YOLOing it to Chris Olave and Juwan Johnson. Every week I just list the playmakers. Rashid Shaheed, right? And then in the red zone, I'm not saying he's going to be better than Derek Carr, right?
He's probably not going to be worse.
But there's probably going to be a pass in this game. Vita Vea is bearing down on him. You got 350 pounds of man on you. And Jameis is like, what do? I could take the sack. Or, before hitting the ground, I could throw it up. And somebody's going to catch it. Might be wearing a Bucs uniform, my old team. Might be wearing a Saints uniform. That's a touchdown. But I'm going to throw it up. It's going to happen. So I am fired up for this game because anything can happen, but I'm predicting big breakout once again, Jameis Winston in the Saints offense.
Okay.
And then the Bucs I think they're going to have a tough time moving the ball against the Saints defense.
I mean, I'm kind of curious so the thing about Jameis is we had, the Tampa Bay career, which culminated in that ridiculous 5,000 yard season where threw 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and was eventually like the end. That resulted in the entire league saying, we don't want you starting anymore. This was too crazy for anybody to deal with.
Even if he had 60 touchdowns, 30 interceptions is unacceptable. Can't do it.
The entire league, coming off a 5,000-yard season, decided that your time as a starting quarterback has simply ended because of that. So he's been on the bench for years now. And some of that was with Sean Payton as his head coach at the time, where Sean Payton was seen as this QB whisperer and blah, 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 before Russ and Denver happened. I do wonder if that's changed him in any way, shape, or form, right? And if you get a run of Jameis now, because we've had he's played bits and pieces in a couple of seasons, right? But never more than 200 dropbacks in the last 4 years. Like, has he changed in any way? Has that influence of different coaches and this work on the sideline, have they been able to curb his tendency to go YOLO and crazy and whatever? Or do you just, like, you know, if we get enough Jameis, that's who he always is? Because actually, in a weird way, that guy might be right for this offense. You know, old YOLO Jameis. You know, old YOLO Jameis was a lot like when you draw up those kind of clusters of style of quarterback, right? He would be very close in position on those quadrants to Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? A guy that just drops back, closes his eyes, and goes, what the hell? Let's see what happens. Am I feeling lucky today, right? And the thing is, when you get the right group of receivers, that can go really well for you. And it happened for Fitzpatrick a couple of times, right? With the Jets, when he had Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker as receivers. With the Bucks, when he had a good group of receivers, right?
Absolutely.
You had these runs where Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing out of his mind because that YOLO style was being rewarded by giving very good receivers the opportunity to make plays repeatedly. The Saints right now have a group of very good receivers. Now, stylistically, they're not quite the same as those Brandon Marshall, you know, Mike Evans style players. So that potentially changes things a little bit. But I think it is a group that is crying out to be given more opportunities with the ball in, let's say, some, you know, more 50-50 situations, right? Not guaranteed open plays. And Jameis is just the cowboy for that job.
I love it. Look, you're on board with me. You're on board. Saints have the number 6 receiving grade as a team, and their pass grade's only number 21, as in coming from Carr and limited Jameis Winston. They're ready to explode, Sam. They're ready to explode. I'm taking the Saints.
I'm here for it.
Saints are covering the 3 here.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that too. I think the Saints. Are we like the same in everything?
We might be. That's not good. Not good. Probably for you.